Welcome back to Evolution on the Mic. I am your host, Ariana de la Cruz.
And I'm your co-host, Antoine Dove.
And we are back, season 5, The Leader in You, episode 4, The Various Styles of Leadership, part 3. In our last episode, we discussed 3 more leadership styles, 7 so far out of the 10, which included servant leadership, laissez-faire leadership, and situational leadership. Highly recommend you guys go back and watch that one if you haven't already, so that you guys can really get in tune with what these leadership styles are, what they mean, and how you can apply them to your life. Okay. On today's episode, though, we are going to be discussing the final 3 leadership styles that we find that are the most common leadership styles. The last 3 are charismatic leadership, authentic leadership, and bureaucratic leadership. But before we get into all that, Antoine, how you doing? How you been?
Doing great. Just back from LA and getting back into the swing of things. It's a lot going on, this week with like the election week and so many other things going on. And I can really feel, the season's coming here, right? Like we're in November, Thanksgiving's going to be here soon. So there's a lot of things to prep for. So I'm still in my mode of just being grateful and thankful for this time of the year. I love it so much. And I'm just looking forward to what's going to come over these next few weeks.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
I know.
I'm doing super good myself. Everything is going good. My business is going good. I feel great, emotionally, spiritually, physically, just been continuing to work on myself, and striving every day, to be a better person and to enhance myself any way possible. As you guys know, I'm very resourceful. So if I do need to learn something, or if I need a hand in something, I'm going to hire someone to help me get what I need. So definitely been working on health has been a big component. So definitely working on that and been feeling good,
Love it.
been feeling good. So I am blessed. I am grateful.
Well,
yeah.
I think as we're kind of wrapping things up here for, these different leadership styles, I want to first say I'm so grateful that we did this, because I've learned so much over the last, part 1 and part 2 about leadership styles, that some of which I've deployed and I've used and then didn't realize I was using it. And then some of which where I think there's an opportunity for me to find better ways to improve those leadership skills and those leadership styles, because I think they can help me and help me with the teams that I will be managing in the future, or teams I'm managing now, and how that all comes together.
Let me ask you, Antoine.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question, though, because I don't think we've asked each other. Like, we've been talking, but I mean, at least I have been talking about how I see myself in these leaderships. I want to know, out of the 7 that we discussed so far, right? Because we still have some more to go. Which ones have you seen yourself in? Like, what is the ones that you feel like you lean towards more?
Yeah. So first is democratic. I'm definitely a big fan of finding a way to meet in the middle and bringing opposition in 2 different sides and us coming to an agreement. Yeah. Servant leadership also comes up big for me. I think I want to continue, excuse me about that. I still want to continue to improve in that area. But I tend to be very selfless in how I lead. Like, one of the things I'd always tell my teams in the past, even now, I have someone who's on my team now and that I'm working for in the part-time job. And I tell her every day, I was like, my goal is that you take over my job. Like, I'm not this person who's all about like, you need to do good so I look good. I said, I want to make sure I'm giving you the tools so that you can be even better than me, because you will be better than me. The role that I'm in right now, I was hired because I had skills, but you are learning these skills and applying things that I've not had, that you've experienced in your life experiences. And so I want to continue to grow you in that sense. And so even saying that out loud, there's a bit of servant leadership in that, but there's also a bit of situational leadership, because I'm taking her through different steps and finding her where she's at. So I'll say those 3, like democratic for sure, servant leadership comes up big for me, and then situational leadership. I'm finding that I do it, but I haven't been as aware of it. And now I'm more aware of that.
Yeah, I can definitely
see
you. For me, oh my God, I definitely see myself in the transformational leadership.
For sure.
And the reason is because, as you know, like, I have a vision, And I'm very good at articulating what it is and how it's going to impact the people that it serves. And I feel like I'm very good at articulating if I need somebody to jump on board, I'm good at selling that vision so that, people want to be a part of it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I see myself a lot in that transformation leadership. Like, I'm very transparent, right? I model the way for everything that I'm doing. Like I'm living it, breathing it,
Mm-hmm.
everything that I want Mentor's Way to be. Like I say I'm the walking Mentor's Way, right? I like to be inspirational and motivational, which is why, we started this podcast. So that's for me the main one. I like to be more of a servant leader, especially when it comes to building Mentor's Way is going to be
Mm-hmm.
very selfless, right? And everything that I'm doing is for those that need it, right? That need a mental shift in their belief system to believe in themselves and anything that they want to do. So I know that that's going to require more of that to come out of me. So I
Yeah.
aspire to be more of that, but I think I lean more towards that inspirational leadership and causing a massive shift and change in the world.
I
That's
totally see that. I
Thank you.
totally see that on in a major way for you. Just because, as we've shown through this podcast from the beginning and you've shared a lot about your story, like you've been on a mission for years and years and nothing has swayed you from that mission. And I think that just goes like we were talking about Nelson Mandela in the 27 years. And it's like you've been putting in your 20 plus years of staying dedicated to the cause. And even
Yeah.
if other people don't see it or understanding at this point, you see it as clear as day. And you're seeing it, you're getting closer to it each and every day. And it's becoming even more real. And I love that. So, yeah, I totally see you in the transformational space.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think about when we started this podcast, right? Like, and I like, showed you like we spoke about collaboratively on what we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
do, this God led, faith led. You were like, yeah, like I'm pumped. Like I can totally see this,
Yep.
and I want to be a part of this, So
Yep.
it was like, I just remember even with the podcast, like, speaking about what it's gonna do and the avatar and how,
Mm-hmm.
everything came about. Like we were both pumped to be a part of this. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that I can also see how that was my way of
100%.
also that transformational leadership, even in growing this podcast and partnering up together.
Yeah, no, 100%. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Some of the getting to like kind of our final few leadership
Yeah.
styles and talking through those. One that came up, and I actually really like this one
Mm.
because I think it's one that can be leveraged in many different ways, and people who tend to lean into this type of leadership style have been very influential. And in some ways, I think it can even some ways lean into some of transformational leadership as well, where I can see a bit of a blend.
Okay.
But that's called charismatic leadership. And
Ooh.
so a charismatic leader, as you can think about the word charismatic,
Yeah.
they use a lot of charm and personal appeal and influence to inspire people and motivate others. They just have a way about them that makes you feel at ease.
Mm.
They have a very inspiring vision, again, going back to the whole transformational movement and talking about vision. And they can articulate a compelling vision in a way that resonates with everyone. So when they talk about what they want to do, what they see, what they want to accomplish, it instills a sense of purpose and direction to those that are receiving the message that makes them want to follow. And there's I like to call it more of an art than a science in how a charismatic leader goes about it. It's how they use their words, it's how they carry themselves, it's how they talk and how they lean in and how they make people feel comfortable that allows them to be so successful at it. And like I was saying, along with that comes strong communication skills for a charismatic leader. They have just the ability to communicate in a way with people that in using like their storytelling, using their body language and how they express things that people like all you want to do is lean in. Like as they talk, you just want to kind of lean in or sit and listen to them forever. And there's some amazing charismatic leaders throughout the time of history who have used their storytelling abilities to cause huge, massive transformational movements. And this is where I kind of say, like, I see the two kind of starting to blend some. And then
Yeah.
another thing that charismatic leaders have, which I, it's something that some people have told me I had it, but like I still feel like I'm working on it. But it's like this sense of like magnetism, where like you have just a way where like people tend to like draw to you and tend to attract to you, and you can have conversations with people very easily. And there is this like sense of like confidence in how you go about yourself and charm, but it doesn't come across as like a cocky kind of thing, like, oh, like look at me, look at who I am. It's just more of like a silent confidence. Like you're very secure and understanding of who you are and your mission and purpose and what you're here for. And you have a strong sense of loyalty and admiration to other people. And a charismatic leader, you feel that from them. Like you don't feel like what they're saying is just words and what they're saying is fluff. You feel like what they're saying is speaking directly to you. And you feel that there's a sense of connection, there's a sense of community, there's a sense of a bond with this person that comes forward with a charismatic leader. And so I mean, there's a lot of people I think we can choose from in the history of time, who have this charismatic leadership and have displayed it on a major way on big stages. But the one that comes to me most relevant right now and like just overall, like who comes to my mind is Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh,
I think
yeah. That's a good one. Yeah.
he has probably been one of the most charismatic leaders of our time. And he demonstrated everything that I just talked about. He had a compelling vision, an inspiring vision that when he talked about it, people leaned in. It resonated with people. They felt like he's talking to me. He's in the same shoes I am. And when he communicated, his communication style as an orator was incredible. Like the way he'd talk and he'd leave these pauses and he'd say things like you had no choice but to stop and listen when MLK Jr. spoke. Like when he spoke, you had no choice but to listen, lean in. You wanted to hear what he said. He left you hanging on every note. And when he talked, it wasn't just about fluff. Like he was talking about something that was relevant in the moment. He talked about the civil rights movement in the United States, and he mobilized that with the messages that he said. Similar to Nelson Mandela, like he went to prison, and even in prison, he continued to push his vision and continue to believe in his vision. And so like when he gave his transformational speech, that I call it transformational because it did, I think it shifted everything in how we viewed the world. And even to this day, I think it's still very applicable to everything we do today, which is his I Have a Dream speech, and how it talked about the connection and emotionally that we have with people and fostering this sense of we're all one human race. Despite our colors, despite our differences, we're one human race.
Yeah.
And there's this commitment to a social change for something better. I mean, all of that was all his, just who he was as a person. You didn't feel like it was fake. You didn't feel like it was staged. You just felt a true genuineness in who he was and how he presented that message. And to me, charismatic leaders, they just have that way about them, you know?
Man, we all love a confident leader.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
we all
sure.
love a leader that you feel heard. They talk and you're like, oh my God, yes, that's exactly what I've been thinking. That's exactly what I need. Like, hallelujah, you're doing something about it. Like we all love that. And I love how you mentioned Martin Luther King, because as you were talking about charismatic leadership, like he came to my mind too. Like he had a compelling vision and he will speak that vision so eloquently, so beautifully, so clearly. Again, like you're saying, like the transformational leader, but he did that so well. But he had this charisma to him too, and Martin Luther King was a looker too, like when you think about somebody charismatic, they tend to be like, you want to keep looking, like they're a little on the cute side. Just speaking for myself, right? So he, also was a looker, and he spoke so well, and his tone was always so perfect. And he knew, like you're saying, where to pause and all of that. So, but he was powerful. Although he had this smooth talk to him, and he would speak with conviction and confidence, and he was always dressed so sharp and well, which I think is also part of that charisma. Like you want to keep looking and hearing, because it's just they kind of enhance all your five senses, And I think, like, he did that well, but I'm just like, we love someone that can be a great storyteller, someone that exudes that confidence, someone that you feel like is hearing you, listening, like they know what you need, but you believe in them that they can make it happen. Like people believed in Martin Luther King, like he is going to make this radical revolutionary change, with racism, and where we can all be one and just peace and love, and just, you know what I mean? Like, we're just one body, not about color. So I feel like people believe that he could make that change because of, he modeled that. He believed in that. He never let up. He, again, spoke with that conviction and that confidence. And that's huge when you're trying to like lead people into your cause. The next style that we're going to talk about is an authentic leader, authentic leadership. This style emphasizes on being genuine and authentic while guiding others, right? So it's about staying true to yourself, your values, and encouraging others to do the same. Okay, there's some characteristics that comes with being an authentic leader, and some of them is, one is being self-aware. You have a high level of self-awareness, like we were talking about in another one of our leadership styles. You're very aware in your goals, in your core values, in your motive, like what it is that you're trying to do, and you're very self-aware of that. You have a deep understanding of your strengths, your weaknesses, your emotions. Like, you have a high level of emotional intelligence as well, right? And you're able to reflect back on your experiences, and you are willing to hear feedback from other people. So you're not the type of person that you feel like you know it all, right? You're very transparent, right? Another one is being transparent. You don't mind letting other people know what trials, tribulations you have, like your wins, your losses, right? Your ups or your downs. You are very authentic in what is going on, and you don't mind sharing that openly to other people, even if it means being criticized, because deep down inside who you are. And it doesn't matter what other people say about you. It doesn't matter, like, if someone is like, oh, I'm not going to follow her no more because she did that, because you have an understanding of, yes, I did this, but I've learned from it and I overcame it, and I'm on the other side of that. So you can judge me if you want, but it takes like a lot of guts and grit to be able to be open and vulnerable and transparent with people. But this type of leadership style is all about that, right? They're all about get to know me, get to know what's happened to me, what I've done, and have a conversation around it, because a lot of people are kind of scared to talk about their truth and things that has happened or things that they've done, but not this type of leader. Okay. They're also very consistent. They're reliable. You feel like you can count on them. You can count on them to be stable in their emotions, in their behavior. They're not erratic, right? And this builds a trusting environment. It's a very stable and trusting foundation, because that when they're going to come correct. They're going to come consistent. You know what to expect from this person, right? There isn't much gray. This person they come as they are. You know that they're going to come with truth, and that they're going to be there. And they're solid in that, which, will allow you to trust them in any situation, right? So they definitely are big on trust, in trusting themselves and in putting trust in other people and having other people trust them. That's very big for them, right? Which is why they're so open and honest, right? They're trying to build that honesty and that trust, right? They're very encouraging, right? An authentic leader is very encouraging to their followers to be open to ideas that they have, to be open to share those ideas, to that their opinions matter, and that they can talk about anything that they want to talk about. They can share their thoughts, their own opinions, because they model this. They're doing it themselves. They're sharing, they're open, they're opinionated, they don't mind speaking it how it is, and they encourage others to do that. So they empower other people, encourage other people to be that same way. Okay. And when a leader does this, right, again, it creates this unity of trust, of open-mindedness, right, which fosters creativity, right? Because if someone is in a place where they can't really speak their mind, everything has to be on the hush hush, they don't feel safe, right? That's gonna deter creativity, right? But this authentic leader opens people up, right? They open them up to speak their mind, to speak their truth, to be who they are. Don't be no one else. Don't look at other people, right? They advertise for, there's a no competition zone, so you're not in competition with anyone, right? They want the best for other people, and this grows this ability where you can be creative and give input in whatever it is that you're trying to do as you're leading the people that you're impacting. So overall, authentic leadership, they create a positive and supportive environment, where everyone thrives, right? Everyone contributes, everyone has say. And where I've seen this in my biggest inspiration since I was young is Oprah Winfrey. I know you guys are like, huh, leadership styles. Ariana hasn't brought up Winfrey. I was leaving it for this one because I see Oprah's journey, this challenging journey that Oprah had. And she was always very authentic, very true, very honest and open about all her struggles, about all her tribulations, right? If you think about Oprah, like Oprah was raped by her uncle at a very young age, I think 12 years old. A lot of people keep those things to themselves, right? They're not going to share that. And especially, Oprah as this media mogul, right? It's like everyone is going to know. She found the need to share all her deepest wounds, her deepest traumas, for the sake of allowing someone else to speak up in their truth, because the truth heals, right? When you speak up and you're open, it's healing. And Oprah embodied this to the fullest and being authentic about her journey. When she got fired, before she became Oprah, Oprah had gotten fired from jobs, but that just made her stronger. And in her communicating this and telling people everything that has happened to her has made her relatable, right? It has made people want to draw to her. It's like anybody that loves Oprah or follows Oprah can see a bit of themselves in Oprah. She has that ability. Although Oprah is a multi-billionaire, right? The ordinary, everyday person can see some of themselves in Oprah because she has just been, till this day, someone that is very open about where she's at and what she's doing and the things that she struggles with, like down to her weight. Like, she's doing Weight Watchers or she's joined the new program. She says, I love bread, So it's like, I love bread too. Like, I got your same struggles. And it just makes her so relatable and someone that you want to follow, because although she's this big person, that she's just a regular person deep inside. And there's like so many celebrities and so many famous people that have done a huge platform, but they go through things in secret. They don't share, right? But she does. She's very authentic in everything that has happened to her, which has led me in my journey to be safe, to have a safe place to share what I've gone through, what I'm going through, to be vulnerable, to be transparent, to be authentic, to share my ups and downs, my troubles and tribulations, as we do here in the podcast, because I see how much of an impact it has on me. And I hope, right, in me being this way, it can have an impact on others, right? That it's like, oh, she went through that and she's where she's at. Me too. I can get there too. Like there's hope for me, because you know what I mean. Oprah's journey gave me hope, and a lot of the books that I've read were about people that have shared their deepest and darkest tribulations, but they came out on the other side, right? It's all about coming out on the other side. And authentic leaders embody this so well. Like, they just inspire others to be their true selves and to follow their dreams and be who they are, right? And own it, basically. You're owning who you are, despite what anybody else might think of you. They might think you're crazy. You're just in your own lane, following your truth, following your purpose, speaking your truth, and cultivating that for other people to be in the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this authentic leadership style, because I do think that being able to create a safe space where people can step into who they are is a powerful leadership tactic, leadership style, leadership, just opportunity as a person that's in a leadership to give someone the space to be who they are is incredible. And I think Oprah has shown that on, obviously on a massive stage, on a massive level. But even now, like as you think about like some of the things that she opened up on and talked about on her talk show back in the day, and all the things she's doing now with all the different things she's a part of, like she still continues with her vision of creating a space where people can open up about some of their deepest, darkest places and do it in a way that's safe, where they feel heard, where they feel understood, as opposed to feeling judged. And to me, that's a super, super human power of a leader, to be able to do that and do it in a way that people feel like you're really looking out for them. And I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
I this last leadership style that we're going to go through is it's 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 what I would probably consider to be pretty traditional in terms of leadership styles, and it's called a bureaucratic leadership style. When I say traditional, because I think when we think of a leader, we, at least for me, I'll speak for myself. When I think of a leader, I think of a leader kind of setting up a structure or like a process or a system, and then helping people to understand how to navigate that process and system. And through that navigation of process and system, it leads to success, right? And a bureaucratic leader, that's essentially what they do. They are a leader that emphasizes rules and procedures and policies to manage their team. And by trade, I'm an operations guy. I just can't help it. It's who I am. And so within operations, there's a lot of process and procedures that you put in place primarily to ensure efficiency. It's not to like create headaches for people to be able to do things. It's really to like, let's do this so that we're efficient, so that we can track it. Because what you don't measure, you can't manage. So you can track it, you can measure it, you can manage it, and you can get better over time. And that's what a bureaucratic leader does, is they create rules and procedures that emphasize the importance of protocol and regulations, and how that protocol and regulations and adhering to it leads to decision making and operations. And that's what they're doing at their true core. Some of the other things that they do is they believe in a structured organization. So they believe that there is some type of hierarchy, right? That there is everyone has a defined role and decisions that they make, and that it's up to you to understand your role and to create a level of accountability in your role for what you are responsible for. So the structure creates the opportunity for you to know, one, what am I supposed to be doing? And then two, how am I going to be measured against what I'm doing? So this is why, like, as I'm talking about this, you'll start to hear what I mean when I say it's kind of a traditional leadership role. When I think of leaders, this is what I think leaders are doing. Yes, there's the transformation, all these other things that leaders do, but one of the things as a leader is ensuring that the mission, the vision that you're embarking on, that you have the right people who are helping you to achieve it. They understand what they're supposed to do, and that you're measuring that over time, because you want them to get better. I think it's a disservice as any leader to have people help you with achieving the vision and mission that you see on the bigger scale without them getting anything in exchange. And maybe that's my servant leader in me that's speaking out, but like I truly believe that that's a big part of that, is helping people to evolve as well. And then one of the other big aspects and characteristics of a bureaucratic leader is their impersonal approach. They oftentimes prioritize policies and over personal relationships. So like you may hear people sometimes say in business, it's business, it's not personal. And as cliche as that sounds, it's really true. Like if you allow personal feelings and things to get too involved, it just it distracts, and in some ways, um, you know, alters your judgment of a situation. And when someone's a bureaucratic leader, it's not about the person, it's about the task. I want you to understand what the task is. I want to help you understand how to get the task done. And I want you to understand how we're going to measure that task. Whether it's you, Bobby Joe, or you, Mary Lynn, it doesn't matter, right? What matters is the accomplishment of the task and getting the task done, because getting that task done efficiently and according to the process is what allows the bigger mission and vision to actually be accomplished. And so, as you think about leaders and people who deploy this, and I had to do some research on this one because I was like, well, I mean, I think it's kind of a natural leadership style, but who's someone that we can call out and talk about that shows where this really applied and the impact on a massive scale? And it was actually Henry Ford. So Henry Ford, for those who don't know, Henry Ford invented, Ford Motor Company. So all of the Ford cars and things that we see today, actually a lot of what we see in terms of car automation and how cars have, the combustion engine and all these different things. Like he was a big part of that and bringing, cars to life, like going from a horse and buggy to actually horse-drawn carriages to cars, right? And when you think of like auto plants, when you think of assembly lines and production, Henry Ford is like the father that everyone looks to, because he put a lot of that in place and what's allowed mass production during the industrial revolutionary periods and things to come forward. And so Henry Ford, what he did was he put in place systems. These were the systems. No difference, like I was saying before, about the rules and the process and how we go about making decisions. He put all of that in place to ensure that there was consistency in how cars were being made, consistency in how things were getting done, consistency in how we measured productivity and progress as an organization. And many of the things that he put in place back then are what led to many systems and processes that we have in place today. Like, we do mass manufacturing, and the only way you can do that is by having a system and a process that can be measured, can be managed, and can be tracked. And so I bring this leadership style up because I think, even if you take this from a very macro level and take it micro to just your own personal life, I like to say, and someone has said this to me, and I believe this, like, we are the CEOs of our own life. So even if you may feel that, hey, I'm not really a leader, and like, I don't have a team, and oh, I just work this job, like, and they don't going to ask my opinion. I'm not in charge of the process. I'm not in control of how things go. Well, let's just start with the basic sense of just your life. Like, in your life every day, you're making decisions for your life. Are there certain things in your life where, with maybe a process, or maybe measuring, or maybe tracking, or maybe having a little bit of a system where you could benefit from? Like, I know for me, when it comes to like my health and weight, if I don't have a system, like a regimen where I'm doing pretty much the same thing, I know it sounds boring, but like where I'm eating similar meals, I have my schedule's laid out, I know like how I'm supposed to be getting things done, my weight will be all over the place. Like, I have to have a system in that process for me, because it allows me to measure and to track my progress. And if something's off, I can go back and understand where things got off. So like, if I know that I'm eating, lean proteins, and I'm eating, simple like carbohydrates, like vegetables and things like that, I'm not eating a lot of breads and things like that, and consistently I've seen my weight improve over time, and then randomly one week I go out for 2 nights and I eat pizza, and then my weight fluctuates. Well, I know why, right? I know at least one of the potential causes, which was the pizza, right? I'm retaining water. I ate something that I didn't need to eat. But like, I wouldn't know that if I wasn't tracking, I wasn't measuring. And so I say that to as more of an encouragement, that even if you're feeling like, when I talk about bureaucratic leader and you're like, but in that situation, I don't have any control of that in my current job, that's okay. Start with yourself. Where in your life are there some systems, some processes, some things that you can put in place that will help you to move forward in achieving the mission and vision that you've set for yourself, or the mission and vision that God has called you to do? Like, what are some of those things that you can do to help you to start to measure, track, and manage those aspects of your life?
Yeah, no, I love that, because like I was thinking of like what you were saying, like with the routine, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
with your health, like I mentioned, I'm in my own, health journey, and I am now like weighing my meals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the ounces, the grams, to that extent. So if I do, the scale does go up one week, it's like, okay, I know that I followed everything to the T. I ate my macros to the T. I've had my exact proteins that I needed in every meal, my carbs, and I track the ounces and everything. Then I know that I can change one thing and
Mm-hmm.
see if that was it, right?
Right.
Because I have everything so meticulously planned out, right? And so routined, and I know what's going in and what I'm doing as far as exercise and tracking my steps, that I'm able to see over time what's working and what's not. I can make
Right.
one tweak and be like, okay, that's it, because everything else has stayed so consistent. So it's like, even to that, right? Even to
Mm-hmm.
tracking and weighing your meals and what you're eating and counting your calories. I mean, I think this adds at another level. But if you have a goal of losing 50 pounds, like, you have to be able to be that detailed and that structured and disciplined in your approach to creating that, like, that's that what's the word I'm looking for, routine for
Right.
yourself, and know what you're doing and have all those systems in place. So that's
Yeah.
definitely important in your day to day, because, maybe people are watching and they're not in a predicament of, growing a company and innovation and all these other things, but it could be with your health. It could be in a position where you're starting off as an employee and you want to become a supervisor. What can you do? What
Mm-hmm.
systems can you put in place? It's all about hitting another level and maintaining that, tracking that, and making sure that you're hitting your target goals. And over time, you know, you're going to have everything be materialized. You're going to see that come to fruition. Yeah, so, I mean, 100%. I love, Antoine, all of these 10 leadership styles that we have gone through, you know, since part 1 of this part 3, you know, series that we've been going through with the leadership styles. And, you know, we intently decided to do each style like in these 3 parts because we really wanted to hone in each one and be able to talk about it and not like, oh, we're talking too much and we're losing people. So we really did this for you guys so that, you know, it's in bite-sized, you know, pieces and not like this one long drawn out episode where you're going to get overwhelmed. So I'm hoping that this was helpful and that, you know, you've been able to think about these things for yourself and how you can apply this. And if you haven't, I will invite you to an exercise that we've had you do in part 1 and 2, which is basically, you know, think about what type of leader you want to be. Now you have all 10, right? So even if you watch 1 and 2, try this out again, you know, think about all of them. Think about which leader you want to be. Take out a piece of paper, right? Think about which style suits you best and why does it suit you, right? Think about how you can implement this on your day-to-day life, whether it's in your personal life, your professional life, you know, in any area. If you're a supervisor, if you're a manager, if you're an owner of a company, right? How can you apply these leadership styles to you, right? So that's definitely what I want you guys to do. And I want you guys to remember that there isn't no one right way to lead. There really isn't. As you can see, there's different ways, but the best leaders, they adapt to the style that fits best on a certain situation and with certain types of people. So they're flexible and they're adaptive. Okay. So keep these styles in mind as you work with others, right? And think about how you can be a great leader in your own way, because you know you cannot like try to be like Oprah 100% or Nelson Mandela 100% or Mother Teresa, right? You can strive to be like them, but you're going to do it in your own unique way because God created all of us as individuals with all our with our own individual abilities. So try to be the best leader that you can be, okay? And let that shine. So there you have it, y'all. We've reviewed the 10 different leadership styles over the last 3 episodes. We hope that you have found the leadership styles that resonate with you the most and that you are now more aware of how you can conduct yourself as a leader or as even as someone that aspires to be a leader. Now we gave you guys some tools, okay? And we're going to continue on the leadership series. So come back, y'all, to the next episode because we got more for you guys on this topic. And as usual, y'all, if you have any thoughts, comments, or anything that you'd like to share, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below. And with that, thank you for tuning in. And until our next episode, always remember that having faith in God, having faith in yourself, and having faith in others will create the evolution that you are seeking.